It's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline. I'm Raymond Goh. Our top stories. MACC reveals shocking audio recordings of alleged Dato Sri Najib conspiracy. And Iran defies Trump's wrath with retaliatory missile attacks.
Can I advise you something?
Yeah. Okay. Anything?
No. They don't listen to me. You know why? They tell you to slow down on Abu Qasim. And Abu Qasim is making statement, this Vienna Convention, we are making him looking like a hero. And you are the villain, see? And all these five people, can they see that their first priority is you, not anybody else?
Which five people?
Dia ada office lah, Shahlan, dah convince Tengku, dah convince Amari, dah convince, like you, kita ni semua villain.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC on Wednesday released a series of 9 audio recordings implicating former Prime Minister Dato Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak, his wife Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor and several high-ranking officials. MACC Chief Commissioner Latifah Koya described the contents of the audio clips as shocking and alleged it to be a criminal conspiracy at the highest level. Latifah, in a special media conference in Putrajaya, claimed that the audio recordings contained conversations between Dato Sri Najib and several others as they attempt to sort out the One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB, and SRC International scandals. She also said the audio clips were received from an anonymous source after the New Year, adding that the alleged conversation on the cover-up took place between January 5th and July 29th, 2016. Among the conversations were allegedly between the ex-Prime Minister and former MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Zulkifli Ahmad, a deputy public prosecutor then, who purportedly leaked information from the Attorney General's chambers on its probe into the scandals.
We have been given the recordings, but I won't tell you from where at this point. Pursuant to investigations, we can confirm their absolute authenticity. The contents are shocking. It's of cover-up and subversion of justice and institutions. In the public interest, we are making public the contents. We will now play the recordings to you. Bear with us, it will be roughly about 45 minutes of 9 sets of conversations.
Also identified in the audio clips were Datin Sri Rosmah, UMNO's Baling MP, Dato Sri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim, as well as Dato Sri Najib's former Special Officer, Dato Amhari Effendi Nazaruddin. Also named were Crown Prince of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Latifah also stated that the MACC will hand over all the audio recordings to police for further action. According to Latifah, the first part included conversations involving a person who was allegedly the former MACC chief, Tan Sri Zulkifli Ahmad, then a deputy public prosecutor in the Attorney General's chambers, AGC. Tan Sri Zulkifli was allegedly heard briefing Dato Sri Najib on an investigation paper in January 2016, which Latifah said should be the one on former 1MDB unit SRC International Sindra Berhad. He was also heard saying that the Attorney General, then Tan Sri Muhammad Apandi Ali, was very good, but that the recommendation by the MACC on the case was troublesome.
Bila saya tengok benda tu macam nak nangis saya rasa. Kita bersependapat ada masalah, cuma nak updatekan untuk segi apa sebenarnya bentuk cadangan yang dicadangkan oleh MACC sendiri untuk saya.
Tak kena tu kalau dia cadang tu benda tu terkeluar tak sedap.
Betul Zuri, itu yang kita risau sangat-sangat. Itu yang saya rasa betul Sri perlu tahu kepada tersebut. On the legal side kita boleh handle, tak siap Pandi boleh handle, saya boleh handle. Itu tadi isu Datuk Sri, tapi yang selain daripada tiga tu, dan saya pun tak sangka to the extent seriousnya benda tu.
Ada yang lain tu.
Wallahualam. Saya rasa Datuk Seri ni.
Meanwhile, part of the recordings also included a conversation allegedly between Datuk Sri Najib and a person MACC identified as his wife, Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor, where she was heard shouting at the former Prime Minister to advise on how to settle the dispute between 1MDB and Abu Dhabi's International Petroleum Investment Company, IPIC. She also expressed her unhappiness towards former MACC chief Tan Sri Abu Qasim Muhammad's role in the investigations into Datuk Sri Najib.
Hi.
Hi.
Officer.
Yeah.
Can I advise you? Can I advise you something?
Yeah, hang on. Okay, anything?
No. You please don't listen to me. You know why? They tell you to slow down on Abu Qasim. And Abu Qasim is making statement, oh, I'm based in Vienna Convention, ambil gambar dengan Pak Zahab. We are making him looking like a hero. And you are the villain, see? And all these five people, can they see that their first priority is you, not anybody else? It's not difficult. Just solve and just say that. Withdraw the arbitration. That's the first step. Then I said, they have to trust us, but we trust them. You know?
That's right. That's why Hari told me. I said, you go and talk to Khaldun. Try to convince him this. There is no point going for arbitration.
Yeah.
You go for arbitration, everybody will get hurt.
Maybe Khaldun should come here, you know, and talk to you and, you know, and Amhari separately.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Not just talking over the telephone or it doesn't work. See?
You can invite him here. Yeah, sure.
Invite him, sort it out once and for all, and put it in Khaldun. And he knows us. Bukannya dia tak kenal kita. Kau dah makan minum rumah kita semua.
Meanwhile, separate recordings captured alleged conversations between Datuk Sri Najib and parties from the United Arab Emirates, including UAE Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and Mubadala Development Company's Managing Director Khaldun Al Mubarak. The calls were made following a U.S. Department of Justice's announcement in July 2016 of the billion-dollar scandal involving 1MDB. Datuk Sri Najib was also heard asking for a personal request for the UAE to establish a loan agreement between his stepson Riza Aziz and UAE Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan due to the 1MDB money trail to Riza's Hollywood film production house, Red Granite Pictures.
I also have this personal request, Your Highness.
Yes.
That relates to Riza, my son.
Yes.
And his movie. You see, the problem is relatively small. If there can be an agreement with Sheikh Mansour to have a loan agreement signed, and he will pay back according to the schedule, that will show that it's a legitimate financing package. It's not money laundering, you see. At the moment, he's under a bit of pressure in America, and we're worried about him in case they make him the scapegoat, you see. I would appreciate if that agreement can be signed quickly with Sheikh Mansour or whoever is designated by Sheikh Mansour, so that he can begin to pay back. He's paid back some. He continues to pay back, so that it would appear as a legitimate loan agreement, which it is, you see. Because when he received it, the banks cleared the source of money, so he was not aware at all where it came from, you see. So I don't want him to be a victim when he was totally unaware about the source of money. He generally believed it was from Abba and under the instruction of Sheikh Mansour, you see. And also, I remember Your Highness also talked about him when we were in Abu Dhabi.
Also, one of the conversations that was played was allegedly between former Tabung Haji chairman, Dato' Sri Aziz Abdul Rahim, who appeared to have discussed if the pilgrimage fund was linked to the 1MDB probe with former MACC chief Tan Sri Zulkifli. It is understood that when the alleged telephone conversations took place in January 2016, Tan Sri Zulkifli was then an officer with the Attorney General's chambers before he was appointed as the head of MACC in August of that year. In the first call on January 17th, Tan Sri Zulkifli appeared to be updating the Baling MP about an unspecified matter, saying he had completed one matter and would be finishing another, after which another Tan Sri, which is believed to be then Attorney General Muhammad Apandi Ali, would be briefed. Latifah Koya, however, did not explain what the conversation was about, but it is believed to be related to the 1MDB investigation papers IP. During their conversation, Tan Sri Zulkifli also told him that the matter was all under control, while the latter claimed that Tan Sri had informed him that he planned to send what is believed to be the IP back to the investigators. And in their second call on January 22nd, Tan Sri Zulkifli also informed the former Tabung Haji chairperson that the investigators wanted to add 2 other names after the IP was returned.
Yang bos maintain lagi tambah 2.
Tambah lagi untuk 2 orang lagi. 4 orang. 4 orang.
4 orang. Rosman, Syamsul,
Syamsul dengan Nick, dengan Subuh, dan Syamsul dengan Aziz.
Aziz mana?
Aziz satu something adanya. Aziz mana?
Oh, ada Aziz lah.
Ada Aziz, bukan Aziz Rahim lah.
So Aziz, Samsul, Subihi, Nick.
Nick Subuh, Aziz Subuh.
Kira Rosman tak ada, Alhamdulillah, tak ada benda-benda Tabung Haji.
Tak ada.
Dia Rosman tak ada. Confirm
Confirm.
Dato' Sri Najib, in the meantime, has responded to the audio recordings released by the MACC, saying his lawyer will study the clips before contemplating legal action against the anti-graft buster. He also questioned who had the authority to record his conversations, as he was the sitting Prime Minister 5 years ago.
Bahawa saya pada ketika itu merupakan seorang sitting Prime Minister, dan sama ada mana-mana pihak ada hak untuk membuat wiretapping conversation yang dilakukan oleh seorang Perdana Menteri, lebih-lebih lagi dengan ketua kerajaan yang lain. Ini boleh memberi kesan kepada hubungan diplomatik.
He was met outside the court during his SRC trial. Dato' Sri Najib's counsel, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, said the release of the audio recordings would affect the trial, and he was contemplating contempt of court proceedings against the MACC for releasing it. Cabinet members led by Deputy Prime Minister Dato' Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail on Wednesday showed up in support of a Puchong school which had come under fire over its Chinese New Year decorations. This after a Malay party had on Tuesday taken aim at SMK Pusat Bandar Puchong Satu's decorations, which they claimed to be unconstitutional and aimed to propagate a religion to students. Dato' Sri Dr. Wan Azizah, however, said such polemics should not have been brought up in the first place and shouldn't be turned into an issue in a nation that is multicultural and is diverse in religion and race. This, as since Merdeka, there has never been a problem about lanterns or celebrating the festivities.
Kalau tanggung ini satu budaya Cina yang kita sama-sama amat Islam, tidak ada masalah. Jadi kalau boleh kita nak gantung tanggung ke apa, kita biasa lah. Jadi janganlah menjadi isu yang boleh memecah belah kita yang tidak sepatutnya menjadi isu. Kita ada banyak persamaan, kita ada kemakmuran bersama yang kita mahu bahasa kita dan kita teruskan. Jadi Jemaah Menteri memang sebulat suara nakkan kita menjaga keharmonian negara kita ini dan kita terus maju dalam 2020 ini.
Dato Sri Dr. Wan Aziza also urged the people to not let things such as this to break the nation up or create disharmony in the country. She added that the school had also been putting up Chinese New Year decorations for the past decade, and it has never been an issue. Also present, showing support at the school were Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng, Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, Communications Minister and Puchong MP Gobind Singh Deo, Youth and Sports Minister Syed Sadiq Abdul Rahman, De facto Religious Minister Datuk Mujahid Yusof Rawa, and Water, Land and Natural Resources Minister Datuk Xavier Jayakumar. Deputy Education Minister Teo Ni Ching also attended a visit, with the Acting Education Minister yet to be appointed. The ministers also took turns signing several Chinese lanterns that were sponsored by the Kinrara State Assemblyman Ng Zihan, who was also in attendance. Still to come on Nightline, culprits behind burglary at Perak Exco's home nabbed. Welcome back. Perak police have smashed Gang Alyong, believed to be responsible for a spate of house break-in cases in the state and Klang Valley. This was following the arrest of 3 suspects, including the gang's mastermind and a woman aged between 38 and 41 in a raid at a house in Meru Valley, Jelapang on Sunday. Ipoh Police Chief Assistant Commissioner A. Asmadi Abdulaziz said police believe they have solved at least 12 house break-in cases, including the burglary at State Executive Councillor Paul Yong Chu Kyong's home in Meru last year.
Kita masih jadi menjalankan siasatan berkaitan dengan penglibatan dia dalam kes melibatkan kes pecah rumah YB Yong. Sebab kita masih meneruskan siasatan berkaitan dengan ini dan kita mengharapkan sesuatu yang positif dari segi ini.
On December 4th, Yong said his house in Meru Raya was burgled when he was away in Kuala Lumpur from November 22nd to December 1st, and 2 safe boxes and several documents were stolen. The gang was believed to have been active since last year and would target guarded and gated housing areas by identifying themselves as contractors before breaking into the houses in broad daylight. Authorities also seized a white Honda City, 3 sets of fake car registration plates, break-in tools, cell phones, tablets, a laptop, gloves, and a fake identity card. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for house break-in, which carries maximum 14 years imprisonment if found guilty. After the break, Ukraine-bound Boeing jet crashes in Iran, killing all 176 on board. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. On to the foreign front now. Iran has launched more than a dozen ballistic missiles late Tuesday against 2 Iraqi military bases housing U.S. forces in retaliation for the airstrike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani last week. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said the missile attacks on U.S. targets were a slap in the face for Washington. In his first address to the nation since the U.S. strike that killed Soleimani, Khamenei also said the U.S. should also withdraw from the region. Iranian state television claimed that at least 80 American terrorists were killed in attacks involving 15 missiles that Tehran launched on U.S. targets in Iraq, adding that none of the missiles were intercepted. The claim could not be independently verified, and the state television did not provide evidence of how it obtained that information. Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, meanwhile, defended Iran's attack, tweeting that Tehran took and concluded proportionate measures in self-defense. He added that Tehran does not seek escalation or war, but will defend themselves against any aggression. The Al-Assad and Erbil military bases house over 1,500 U.S. and coalition forces. Following the strike on the U.S. bases in Iraq, President Donald Trump on Tuesday said an assessment of the casualties and damage was underway, and he would make a statement on the situation on Wednesday morning local time. In a post on Twitter, he also stated that all is well with current U.S.-Iran conflict. If there are no American casualties, there could be a way for the two countries to de-escalate from rising tensions that have led to speculation about an armed conflict. Iranian Revolutionary Guards, however, are claiming that 80 Americans were killed in the attacks. Trump had previously warned that if Iran wants to fight, that will be the official end of Iran.
Cultural institutions, but I'm okay with it.
The Ukrainian airliner that crashed outside Tehran on Wednesday, killing over 170 people, was a Boeing 737, built in 2016 and checked only 2 days before the accident. Though preliminary statements by Iranian and Ukrainian authorities suggested a malfunction, the airline's representatives insisted the aircraft was fully functional under experienced pilots trained for emergencies at what he said was the difficult Tehran airport. The 2 black boxes from the airliner have also been found, and though both boxes were damaged, it was believed that their data could still be retrieved. It was reported that the 176 victims on board hailed from various countries around the world. They included 82 Iranians, 63 Canadians, 11 Ukrainians, 10 Swedes, 4 Afghans, 3 Germans and 3 British nationals. Following the crash, Ukraine International Airlines, the country's biggest airline and privately owned, said it had decided to suspend its flights to Tehran starting Wednesday until further notice. A statement posted on the website of the Ukrainian embassy saying the crash was caused by an engine malfunction and ruling out an act of terror was later redacted, saying all information will be provided later by an official commission. The plane took off from Tehran airport at 6:10 a.m. and disappeared from radars just a few minutes later, crashing in Tehran province.